Are you getting it, folks? Yes, Armageddon it. Welcome back to another edition of Rewind the Taste. Rewind the Tape. That was a line from a Def Leppard song, by the way, Ben. Welcome to another episode of Rewind the Tape. I'm none other than your friendly neighborhood song. Friendly? Yeah, sorry. I just got off work, so my adrenaline's still a little up there. I'm your friendly neighborhood soda, joined as always by my co-pilot, Ben. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm not used to seeing this movie. I have to be honest. So this is an adventure today.
Like I said, I've only been off work for 30 minutes. My dog peed on my dad, so I'm still laughing about that. Yes, the dog saw my dad, was excited, running all over, and all of a sudden there's just piss. It's too funny. Anywho, we're not here to talk about my dog's bladder control problems. We are here to talk about...
Oh, we're not. Maybe I should leave.
Yes, rewind the stream. No, we are here to talk about the 1998 blockbuster science fiction disaster film directed by Michael Bay, Armageddon. This movie has been in my life since it came out. I've owned the soundtrack since 2001. I still have the CD. I've been watching this movie on VHS DVD ever since. This is one of those... This, to me, is what Independence Day 4 is to a lot of people. This is a movie I rewatched. This is a movie that's quotable for me. This is a movie I love. It's dumb, but it's still awesome. Now, Ben, this was your first time. This was you popped your cherry, so to speak. With this movie.
I mean, an Armageddon version, so to speak, and it hit all the right spots, man. I love the funness in this movie. And it had an incredible cast.
Well, yeah, let's get into that. So this movie came out in 1998. So think this is 24 years ago, almost 25 years ago. You have Bruce Willis, Billy Bob Thornton, Ben Affleck, Liv Tyler, Will Patton, Steve Buscemi, William Fichtner, Owen Wilson, Michael Clark Duncan, Peter Stormare, Keith David, Jason Isaacs, Marshall Teague, and those are some of the bigger names that is in this movie. And then the opening is narrated by none other than Charlton Heston, Moses himself.
No shit. He sounded familiar.
Yep, that's Chuck Heston himself. Yep.
How the hell did they get Chuck Heston to do that?
I don't know, maybe he did a commercial for the NRA or something. And did you notice Michael Bay has a cameo in the movie as well? He plays one of the
Yes, I did.
Yes. And Eddie Griffin is the bike messenger. My first time ever seeing Eddie Griffin in a film.
And I mentioned Eddie Griffin. The movie opens with a meteor shower. And I hit your message. I said, I meant to turn on Armageddon, but I think I turned on the planet of Smallville instead.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Yeah, that's basically how it starts off. It shows with, explaining how the dinosaurs died, like these movies are wont to do, and then all of a sudden flash forward and we're realizing we're coming up to the same thing. And this movie, believe it or not, was also nominated for 4 Academy Awards.
Let me guess. Music?
You got to be a little bit more specific on the music.
Soundtrack.
Nope.
Score?
Sorry?
Score?
No.
Visual effects.
Yep.
Sound mixing.
Close. Best sound effects editing, best visual effects, and best original song. That sounds like you got to be a little bit more specific.
Was that Aerosmith song an original song for that movie?
Written by Diane Warren for the movie. Yeah.
Well, and then I might be mistaken. The song that Liv Tyler and Ben Affleck are contributing to.
That's a version of I Don't Want to Miss a Thing.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
you hear the whole thing over the end credits, but it's one of the few songs that I know of that's been nominated for both Best Original Song and both Worst Original Song at the Raspberries.
Can I just say, it's a little creepy seeing Liv Tyler and Ben Affleck canoodling while Steve Tyler's singing over it.
It's a little weird, isn't it? You know how I found this out? You know how old Liv Tyler was when she was making this movie? She was 21. I thought she was older than that.
Man, she's a good-looking actress. She is.
When you come from genes like she does, Steven Tyler.
Really? Do you really one. Look at Steven. Look how he hasn't aged all that well.
No, he looks like your wild aunt that comes to visit once a year. That's seriously what it looks like.
I think that how dude looks like a lady. I think that was ahead of its time about him.
No, it was written about Motley Crue. Actually, it really was. I've actually, I've actually heard Aerosmith play this song live.
Oh shit, that's awesome.
I went and saw before. So it's been about 2010 when Steven Tyler signed on to go to American Idol. This was rumored to be their last concert because this is right.
Oh wow.
You could actually see it during the concert. I'll never forget. Can't remember the song, but Steven Tyler, who was a drummer, he started off as a drummer at Aerosmith. He went back and he helped with the percussion, and they showed him on the big screen, and then they showed Brad Whitford and Joe Perry, and they're both looking at each other like, "What the fuck is he doing?" Yeah. Oh, there was a lot of tension in the band at that time. It was pretty wild.
Wow.
But when they played this song, they didn't have the instrumental track. It was just the band, and it was way more badass than the original song. I'm not gonna lie.
Of course.
It was awesome. I'm just like,
who would any walk out to this song from Stranger Things?
yeah, I can see this being one of his songs. Yeah, well, it's Aerosmith. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah. A lot of people say this was the decline of Aerosmith, to which I say, go screw yourself.
Yeah. And we were talking on a messenger. So they went before Good Will Hunting came out?
It's around the same time. Give me a second. Because Dogma, Good Will Hunting, and this one all happened within the same time frame. Let's see. He's got a lot of stuff in his Wikipedia page, this Ben Affleck guy.
Well, yeah, he's a little missing these days.
So, oh no, never mind. No, sorry. Good Will Hunting actually was before this by a year. I think he was working on this when Good Will Hunting came out.
Okay, that would make sense.
No. Oh no, sorry, I'm mistaken. They won the Oscar while they were filming Dogma. That's what it was.
Okay. Now, having known that, are you implying there was no Matt Damon cameo? I mean, even though it was...
Because how do I put this? Matt Damon, while he still won the Oscar, wasn't Matt Damon.
Okay, I
Ben Affleck. Like, they were known as the Good Will Hunting Boys at this time, and this is the movie that put Ben Affleck on the map. Like, before this, he had been in, like, obviously the Kevin Smith stuff. He was in a movie called School Ties early in his career, which had Matt Damon and also has Brendan Fraser and a really great cast of young actors.
Yeah.
Shakespeare in Love, he was in there, and then Phantoms, and then Armageddon. Then you had Dogma, and then you had Force of Nature, 200 Cigarettes, Reindeer Games, Boiler Room, James Silent Straight Back, Pearl Harbor, Changing Lanes. Like, this is the movie that launched him.
What would you say was the movie where he went from Ben Affleck, I don't want to say bad actor, but she's known for she's stuff to Ben Affleck, the prestige director, actor, where we on with him now?
Hollywoodland.
Okay.
Hollywoodland. That's the one that was his comeback.
That's one I still need to see. That's the one I need to see. Well, even so, Superman is one of my...
Because based all on a true story, so that it's definitely worth watching. Just be warned, it can be a little slow.
Superman is my favorite character, one of my favorite superheroes, so...
Yeah, and he is mine, but this is more on, like, basically the death of George Reeves is what the movie's about.
No, I know, but...
You may know, but the audience might not.
Right now, I don't think we have an audience, so... And then you and me.
Touche. I'm talking to future people that might not exist. But yeah, no, it was basically Hollywoodland. Because I remember by that point, his career was pretty much done. Because before that, well, yeah, he appeared in Clerks too, but Elektra, Jersey Girl, which I actually enjoyed, but didn't do well. Surviving Christmas, Paycheck, Geely, Daredevil.
You know what? I'm out now, Daredevil. I don't hate that movie.
Give me the director's cut.
I've seen it. It's good. It's good.
They add some things in where it actually connects it better. And then they have a whole Coolio subplot in the courthouse, which is pretty good. You can see him, Matt Murdock, in court.
I've seen it. Is he in Electra?
So according to this, he is in the director's cut.
Okay, probably, I'm guessing, cameo type of thing.
That would make sense. Yeah.
Which one of his movies had Will Smith being Will Smith, the actor from the scene? Okay.
Funny enough, the Will Smith role was originally written for Bruce Willis.
Wow.
Because originally the movie took place earlier in time in the 90s. And when Gertie's a baby, it would have been Moonlighting and Bruce Willis. That was the big thing. Whereas opposed now in the movie, it's Will Smith and the Fresh Prince. So they would have put it back a decade and taken Bruce Willis in the place of Will Smith. And then Bruce Willis, of course, would do this thing at the end. But yeah, that was the original intent for that.
Who is the Ben Affleck? Interesting.
Oh, it was always
okay. All right.
It was always Affleck. Now, fun little bit of trivia before we watch this movie. NASA shows this film during their management training program. New managers are given the task of trying to spot as many errors as possible. At least 168 have been found.
Yeah, there's one more thing I want to bring up before we talk about this movie, in a way. You've seen the honest trailers, I'm guessing, right?
It's been a while, but yeah, I used to watch them.
They did one of Armageddon.
I'm not surprised, and I probably did see it.
And in the honest trailer, they played a clip of commentary.
Yes,
from the movie.
All about this commentary. Yes.
I got to listen to this commentary.
I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. I'm really sure you can find it. But for those who are wondering, so for whatever reason, Criterion actually released a special edition of this movie, and on it is it's a commentary with Ben Affleck on there. And no joke, this is what happened. Ben Affleck told the story of where he asked Michael Bay, "Wouldn't it be easier for NASA to train astronauts how to drill rather than training drillers to be astronauts?" Bay told Affleck to, quote, "Shut up."
No, tell me, ain't that the most Michael Bay thing he could say?
Very much so. Very much so.
I know people like him as a director, and he made some good movies. I can't get on board with him as a director.
Me neither. Like this, The Rock, even the first Transformers movie I'm good with. After that, I'm like,
I still haven't seen the Bad Boys movies.
I saw the first one.
And
the second one. I still haven't seen the third one. They're fun.
Okay.
I would take this over those ones if I'm being 100% honest.
I really did like The Rock too.
Yeah, The Rock is a lot of fun. And
I wonder.
Here's another fun fact: this movie has a rewrite by none other than J.J. Abrams.
I believe it. I wonder if they made The Rock today, will they get The Rock to be in The Rock?
That would be a little on the nose. That'd be very meta of them.
Hey, it's Michael Bay.
That is true, and they have worked together before.
Yeah, pretty good, maybe.
So, you ready to hop into the plot?
Dude, let's do this fine.
An opening narration by Charlton Heston recounts the history of an asteroid impact on Earth roughly 65 million years ago. The asteroid, measuring only about 6 miles wide, impacted near the Yucatan Peninsula and caused an extinction-level event that killed nearly all life on Earth. The narrator warns that the likelihood of such an event happening again is very probable. Fast forward to modern day, which is the 90s. When fixing a satellite in orbit, the space shuttle Atlantis is destroyed by a meteor shower, killing the entire crew. Meteorites then bombard New York City and several other parts of the world, and NASA discovers that an asteroid the size of Texas, traveling at 22,000 miles per hour, will collide with Earth in 18 days, effectively destroying the planet. The scientists at NASA, in cooperation with the Russian, Japanese, and French space agencies, planned to detonate a nuclear bomb at a precise point under the asteroid's surface, which will split it in two and cause it to miss the Earth. However, the bombs must be planted at least 800 feet below the surface within 8 hours of landing and no later than 4 hours before the Earth impact. The mission is not revealed to the public, fearing panic, because no shit.
Wait, can you imagine if they revealed something like that today?
Yeah, I don't. That's some. I think, say for example, this were to happen, I don't think they could keep this under wraps like they did in the movie. That's like it's they're able to keep it under wraps.
On Twitter, we're finished over the minefield, but it would be even a bigger minefield with something like this today.
Mm-hmm. Harry Stamper, played by Bruce Willis, regarded as the world's best deep core oil driller to train NASA astronauts for the drilling. When invited to NASA, Harry brings his 20-something-year-old daughter, Grace, to keep her away from AJ, played by Ben Affleck. Grace's Liv Tyler, a young, rambunctious member of his crew who, he has just discovered, has been sleeping with his daughter. That's another kind of drilling that they're doing on the Derek. I'm here all week, folks. I want to see a fun introduction scene. Harry's playing golf on the oil thing, golfing the balls. They're hitting the balls towards protesters, which is funny. And of course, he says the lines like, "You know how many gallons of oil got you here?" Like, and then he finds out about he finds out AJ did something the night before he wasn't supposed to. He goes to confront AJ, and who does he find? His daughter. So what does Harry do? Gets a gun, and he chases him around the oil thing. I don't know what the hell they're called. I'm on
oil rig.
Oil rig. Thank you. Chasing him around and ends up getting into the lake with a ricochet. And then, of course, what AJ did the night before causes a massive breakdown of the equipment. This big oil spill. People could have gotten hurt because there's some Japanese investors there. AJ gets fired. Bruce Willis fires him, which makes sense. Because as you said, people could have gotten killed here today.
Yeah. I don't think it.
Every right to do it.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's arguing with you.
Harry is disappointed and infuriated because he did not want his daughter to marry an oil driller like himself or remain in the blue-collar life. Head of NASA, Dan Truman, Billy Bob Thornton, informs Harry of the dire situation. After hearing Truman's grim scenario, Harry asks if the only job will be to drill the hole and put the bombs down. Truman assures Harry that the only job will be to drill, and no spacewalks or other astronaut duties will be involved. And Harry decides to recruit his own oil drilling crew for the job to ensure it is done. Cue the roundup montage.
This is fun. I love this montage.
Me too. It's great because we did meet the characters a little bit on the oil rig, and now we're meeting them in their habitat. You've got Bear, played by Michael Clark Duncan, who's leading the cops on a chase on his Harley. You have Rockhound, who is horny. You had Owen Wilson's character, who is a geologist who owns a farm. So of course he was riding on his horse.
Wow!
This is the first movie I saw him in.
And he didn't say wow. I would have been disappointed.
We see Max getting mom tattooed on his arm. We see Chick at the gambling tables because he is a gambler. So basically, we see everybody in their own habitat, and they all get stopped and pulled in to do the thing. And Steve Buscemi says, "You never told me she was a minor."
Isn't he great?
Steve Buscemi. Steve Buscemi is the best. He's amazing, and not just for his acting, but for the person he is. Because I'm sure at this point we all know what he did in 9/11.
No, I don't know what.
When he became an actor, he was actually an active firefighter. So when 9/11 was living in New York, he went to his old firehouse and he volunteered and he worked for days, no sleep, worked for days. And people were like, "Oh shit, Steve Buscemi trying to take a picture of him." And he's like, "No," like he was like trying to avoid getting his picture taken.
No fucking way! That's awesome. I had no idea.
Earned my respect when I heard that.
You want another famous movie? Man, I'm glad they called that guy.
Right? It's like you hear that. It's like I never would have thought of him as a firefighter, but no, he was firefighter for a long time.
I love when you hear stories like that, like him, like Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah,
Doing, there's something so nice about hearing Hollywood people go up and beyond what they're acting to do to help the common man.
well, you heard what Keanu did with his bonus from I think it was the second or the third Matrix. He took his bonus and he bought everybody a motorcycle.
Right, but I was thinking about, wasn't there some incident on the bus that he helped out on or something?
I don't remember the details, but yes, that did happen.
Yeah.
So Steve Buscemi, just for a second, Steve Buscemi was a New York City firefighter from 1980 to 1984 with engine company number 55 in the Little Italy section of New York. The day after September 11th attacks in New York, he returned to his old firehouse to volunteer. He worked 12-hour shifts for a week and dug through rubble looking for missing firefighters. Yeah.
You now, how did somebody? I'm curious. How does somebody like that get hooked up? They're going to sound really bad, but I don't mean it to be bad. How did somebody like that get hooked up with Adam Sandler? I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean,
I can tell you how. A 1992 movie called Airheads.
oh, okay, right.
Frazier, Steve Buscemi, and Adam Sandler.
Is that good? That's on my list too.
It's not bad. It's not.
That's a radio station one,
That's
right?
the radio station, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the radio station. It's got its own good supporting cast, Judd Nelson and a bunch of others.
Is Neiman Raines in that? Or am I thinking of something else?
It's been a bit since I've seen it.
Yeah. I might be, okay.
NASA agents then collect all of Harry's crew, which include Jay Otis, Bear, Curling Bear, Michael Clark Duncan, Max Leonard, Ben Rockhound Davis, Oscar Choice, who is Owen Wilson, and Rockhound is Steve Buscemi, Charles Chick Chappell, played by Will Penn, and some others. They are informed by Harry and NASA of the grim situation they and the world are faced with. The men agree to do it, provided NASA grants their demands, and are put through a 12-day training program. Now, those demands, Michael Bay said to the cast, write down your demands. And that's what was read. That whole scene was improv. Right down to finding out who shot JFK.
Okay, I have one question. Many months for an act recruited Willis to train the astronauts to use the drill.
Yes.
How did that go from that to Willis getting a whole team together?
So it's explained. Basically, the line they used to explain it is easier to train it is easier to train drillers to be an astronaut than it is to train astronauts to be a driller.
I'm just wondering
that's literally the exact explanation they give in the movie.
Okay.
Is it accurate? Fuck no. But I mean, it makes sense because for the type of drilling they do, you need, just like you need the best astronauts, you will need the best drillers. So it kind of makes sense.
You know what? I'm sorry to do this with you as a Canadian, but it's totally Americana.
Oh, no shit. No shit, because we're not that dumb.
Hey.
They meet their mission commanders, Colonel Willie Sharp, Air Force, by William Fichtner, and NASA pilot Jennifer Watts, played by Jessica Steen, who will command the X-71 Space Shuttle Freedom, while Colonel Davis, USAF Marshall Teague, who you will see in a movie we have on our list coming up in a few months, Ben. He's one of the bad guys in Roadhouse. One of the pilots.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's I'm sure you know about the movie Roadhouse? Like you're familiar with what happens? Or you
Foolish knowledge of my extent of Roadhouse comes to a family guy thing when Peter is
Roadhouse
pretending to me. Yeah.
So there's a big climactic scene between Patrick Swayze and this guy, because this guy is he's like the main muscle henchman for the bad guy.
Gotcha.
Big final scene down on the lake. It's the one that they're parodying in Family Guy. He's part of that thing. Anywho, and NASA pilot Tucker, who will command the other shuttle, the Independence. excuse me. The men are introduced to a massive tank-like drilling rig called the Armadillo, one of which will be carried on each shuttle, and the men outfit the Armadillos with the proper equipment. After a meteor strikes Shanghai, China, destroying the city and causing a tsunami, the incoming asteroid and pending mission are revealed to the world. The Freedom and Independence are launched and dock at a Russian space station, crewed by Lev Andropov to refuel with liquid oxygen repellent. Now, hold on. They skipped something that was pretty cool, and that was the reveal of what was going on. And basically, before they were to go into space, Bruce Willis told NASA these guys need a night off because they were already getting at each other's throats. It's like, give them 12 hours. So they did. And Chick, he actually went and visited his estranged wife and son. Now, the kid didn't know that was his father. The mom just said, it's a salesman that mommy knows.
Yep.
Gives him a little thing, a little space shuttle, says, I got something big going up, but do me a favor, give this to him. Don't tell him, you don't have to tell him where it's from, but give it to him. And then what happens? The next day, the mom, the kid's watching as they're watching these guys go to the shuttle. Mommy, that's the salesman. And you see her just drop the phone, and you're like, no, that's your dad.
No,
I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about that.
Wait, we didn't. I thought that happened at the end, but no, I think you're right. That happened.
They are there when
they go visit.
That's when they reconcile. But
who played the mother?
Yeah, you do. Do you recognize her?
I don't know. Who is it?
Her name is Judith Hogue. She was the
April O'Neil. Yeah.
The original April O'Neil. When I saw the movie the first time, I'm like, hey, it's April.
And I think, I don't know if you're familiar with the Halloween Town movies from the Disney Channel.
That skips me.
Yeah, I think he was in one or two of them.
So the first Ninja Turtles and this movie are the only two movies I've seen her in. But clearly she made an impression because April O'Neil. But no, that scene, she's like, that's not a salesman, that's your dad. Like, I was like, that's wow. Like, I got goosebumps just describing it.
I'm wondering, talking about Ninja Turtles, why I'm bringing this up, I don't know. Why was there no continuity with her? They kept switching actresses for April.
Well, the first series, you only did it once.
No, he went.
2 and 3 was the same actress.
Okay, why didn't they do it at all in the first series?
There is a reason for it. I just don't remember off the top of my head. I read about it in the trivia thing, but there actually is a reason for it.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically you do see the crew do the 12-hour thing.
I like one of them got arrested for something. I forget what, but...
Well, they were up at the bar. Involving Rockhound and a few other people. And there's a line later on when they're coming back to Earth, and Rockhound's a little upset that he's not going to die because, like, I just borrowed $100,000 from a loan shark and spent it on a lady named Mandy Mounds. Yeah.
Now, why didn't he put that in his end of the man? I wonder why.
I don't know. Oh, maybe there's going to be something he's going to get because he's at the wedding. AJ encounters a problem stopping the pumps after the ship's tanks are full, and the crews are forced to quickly evacuate back to their shuttles and flee as the station explodes. The crews and Lev Andropov escape. Several hours later, the two shuttles perform a high G-force powered slingshot procedure around the moon, traveling at 22,500 miles per hour to intercept the asteroid. That is some Star Trek 4 shit. Slingshotting around the moon, although I think it's Earth. Entering the asteroid's wake, the Independence is struck by debris, crippling its main thrusters. Colonel Davis orders AJ and his men to don their own oxygen supply and lock themselves in the cargo bay with the Armadillo. As they do, a huge piece of debris smashes out the Independence cockpit windows, and Colonel Davis and Pilot Tucker are killed in the decompression. In the Freedom following, Harry sees a writhing, twisting shape and screams, "Sharp, what the hell is that? Is that the Independence?" His question is answered with a loud bang as a body hits the Freedom's front window. Colonel Sharp informs Houston of the loss of the Independence and presumably its crew. The crippled Independence crash lands on the asteroid, killing most of its crew, including Oscar Choice and Freddie Noonan. AJ, Lev, and Bear survive. The Freedom lands on the surface, but misses the targeted landing zone by, I think they said 27 miles, arriving on an area of hard iron, which will be difficult to drill through. The Freedom team tries to drill, but suffers several setbacks and losses due to unexpected conditions. Their first drill head is destroyed after only a few yards, and they blow a transmission, forcing a lengthy swap with a new one. AJ, Andropov, and Bear board the Armadillo, which somehow survived the crash intact, because, movies. And AJ
I thought the survivors in Independence Day were a stretch. There's some pretty, yeah.
AJ starts following a signal on the vehicle's tracking screen, which he hopes will lead them to the Freedom and Harry's crew. The men are forced to attempt an Evel Knievel-like jump across a massive gorge on the asteroid, and thanks to some heroics from Andropov, they succeed and carry on towards the signal. Now, I love it when AJ turns to the Russian and says, "Have you heard of Evel Knievel?" And the response is, "I've never seen a Star Wars."
Yeah, I like that. Who played the Russian? Do we know?
Yes. It's I said his name a few moments ago. Frick, why am I blanking? Because I love this guy. Peter Stromer. So he was in the Lost World Jurassic Park. He's a good character. He was also in Arrow. He played. Give me a second. I gotta find it. He played the first Vertigo.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. After losing communication with Earth, the drilling mission is put on hold. Harry's crew has only reached a depth of 57 feet after 2 hours of work. Sharp contacts NASA for instructions. The U.S. president orders that the bomb be detonated on the surface in the hopes that the explosion will divert the asteroid away from Earth. The bomb's timer is activated. A surface explosion, however, would not be sufficient to divert the asteroid. Truman manages to buy some time by having a NASA controller kill the uplink for the detonator, but the controller is quickly set upon by United States Air Force security officials, and the timer is reactivated. On the Freedom, Chick sees the bomb timer counting down, and Harry summons Colonel Sharp. The Colonel informs him of the secondary protocol, which he is under orders to protect, to allow the device to detonate on the surface. After overpowering Sharp, Harry convinces the Colonel that he will drill to 800 feet no matter what, and Sharp responds, "Then let's turn this bomb off and be active."
That was a hell yeah moment.
Yeah, it's like, right on, dude, let's do this. Sharp then joins Harry's men to help them attempt to finish the job. With just 250 feet left to drill, their drilling machine is blasted off the asteroid by a gas vent, killing Max in the process. May he rest in peace. Or as Steve Buscemi says, "Bye, Max." When the crew radio report to NASA that the mission has failed, worldwide panic ensues as humanity braces for the end of the world. A massive meteorite then strikes Paris, destroying most of the city. Not long after Paris is struck, the Freedom crew is trying to figure out what to do next when Harry spots a light on the side of his visor. He turns around to see the lights of a vehicle on the cliff above them. It is the second Armadillo, driven to the site by the survivors of the Independence. Harry puts AJ in charge of finishing the drilling, and they successfully drill to the necessary depth. The team lowers the nuclear bomb into a hole, but are caught in a rock storm because, of course.
Yeah.
The storm kills crew member Gruber and damages the remote on the bomb, rendering remote detonation useless. With 18 minutes left, Truman tells the team that someone must stay behind to detonate the bomb. Sharp and Watts must stay to fly the shuttle home, so the remaining men draw straws. AJ is chosen after drawing straws, and Colonel Sharp demonstrates to AJ how to manually activate the detonator. Harry volunteers to take AJ down, but when the elevator reaches the bottom, Harry disables AJ's air supply and takes his place. The Freedom tries to leave, but experiences engine failure, and once again, Andropov comes to the rescue and gets his shuttle's thrusters and main engines going again. Harry sends a message to his daughter from the Armadillo's video feed, giving his full support for her to marry AJ. Seconds later, the Freedom races away from the asteroid, and Colonel Sharp whispers a final goodbye and thank you to Harry. Harry detonates the bomb exactly at the deadline, causing the asteroid to split in two and miss the Earth by 400 miles at the cost of that's a pretty heavy decision. It's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
And of course, they gloss over, but we had the final "I love you, Harry" scene, whatever, which originally was supposed to happen, but Ben Affleck convinced Michael Bates, like, you need this scene. You need something like this emotionally. And
I mean, there's Michael Bay. He doesn't know emotion and everything.
Doesn't know watch. But no, it's a lot of people make fun of this movie, and especially the scene. But you know what? So what? It still gets a
And hit.
I love you, Harry. It's just like, yeah. And he tells him, you're like a son to me, and I will be damn proud to have you marry my daughter.
Damn, dude, it got me. It got me.
It still gets me 25 years later. Harry detonates the bomb. I already read that part. In the wake of one of the massive pieces is the Freedom heading for home. On the ground, celebrations take place around the world that the asteroid threat is gone. The remaining men and women of the Freedom and Independence return to Earth as heroes. As the Freedom touches down at KSC, Kennedy Space Center, it is met with the fire crews and families of the astronauts. AJ reunites with Grace. Chick is met by his son and former wife. Rockhound is met by Molly Mounds, a stripper he had met the night before leaving on the mission. Colonel Sharp meets with Grace and offers his gratitude and admiration for her father's bravery and selflessness, saying that man was the bravest man I ever knew.
That gave me chills.
Where we were earlier when they had the big fight and pretty much was telling them that NASA made a mistake with their crew and then they have this. Yeah. Salute. As the end credits roll, we see Grace and AJ's wedding. The guests include Colonel Sharp, Bear, Rockhound and Molly, Lev, and Chick and his former wife Denise. In the front row stand the photographs of Harry, Oscar, Max, and Noonan, the other lost crew members who are remembered. Now, and what's cool is that this end credits was filmed on Ben Affleck's own Super 8 camera.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was a great way to end the movie, celebrating life, celebrating holy matrimony with one of the greatest Aerosmith songs ever playing over the credits. And that's...
Do you want to give us a little taste of that song?
No, my voice is not warmed up, and Steven Tyler is in a very high octave, so I'm lucky if I can sing it on a good day. I just want to hold you close and feel your heart close to mine, and just stay for all the rest of time. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna do that part because he's gonna go high, and I don't want to grab my nuts on camera. So is this a movie that's going to end up in your rotation? Like, is this a movie you're going to watch again?
Yeah, I'll watch it again, easy. I don't know how often, but I'll watch it again for sure.
This is definitely, you watch this movie, it is very much of its time. It is very symbolic of the 90s action fix. So to me, this is up there with ID4 and movies like that as like the best. Yeah. Twister included. I would throw The Rock in there as well. It's one of the best of the genre, despite what people say about it. There's a reason it's endured 25 years later.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
Yeah, because basically it is what you said. It's Americana. And for those, if any of you guys are interested, there is a podcast out there. It's called "How Did This Get Made?" Have you ever heard of that podcast, Ben?
I think you told me about it.
So they actually do an episode of Armageddon. It's kind of like a Mystery Science Theater type of thing.
Nice.
I highly recommend watching it, or at least listening to it.
Nice.
So Ben, we know my thoughts on the movie. I've been watching it for 25 years.
It's an awesome movie. I love watching it.
Yeah, it's great.
It's great popcorn fun.
Yeah, it's cool to see all these actors that we are familiar with at the beginning of his career. This was Michael Clarke Duncan's first big role, like his first role. Like he'd done some stuff, but
and there's no team collabs between Michael Clarke and Bruce Willis.
The Green Mile, which I have never seen.
No. Did Bruce Willis in that too?
I've seen sorry, I mistook it. You're the whole 9 yards. Different sports metaphor. But I've never actually seen The Green Mile.
Me neither.
Okay. So, is it time to see what our next movie is?
Yeah. Let me bring it up. Osman, you say.
Okay, go for it.
Come on, face off.
Yes! The other iconic movie that people think is Michael Bay, but it is not Michael Bay. Con Air. This is another one of those movies that was like in my childhood.
I've seen this. This is good.
So you have seen it, okay.
Yeah. One of these days, we'll hit a movie that is on my list and not yours.
Oh, don't worry, we're going to eliminate enough of mine, so the rest will all be yours.
It feels like every week we're in another one of those.
Well, do you want to spit again then?
No.
Why?
No.
Because
You got influence?
I've never seen Face Off.
I know. I want to do influence there. I don't want to.
That's perfectly fine. So we are going to be. So 2 movies starring with Steve Buscemi in it. And it has. Con Air has one of my favorite lines. Define irony. A bunch of convicts dancing on an airplane to a song by a band who died on an airplane.
Now, they is the one where Buscemi is the villain, right?
No. This is a little bit of a spoiler. Steve Buscemi is a child molester, murderer, rapist. He's one.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay.
So there's a moment where you think he's done something bad, but it turns out he hasn't.
Okay.
This is the one where John Malkovich is the bad guy. Cyrus the Virus.
Okay.
And this is a movie that John Cusack has disowned.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Hey, it's a fun film. But anyways, that's next week. So, Ben, where can everybody find you?
You guys can find me at my Twitter, man_radio. On my own YouTube channel, More Secrets of Kingdom. Every Monday on Fellowship of the Kingdom. Every Wednesday on Jedi Academy. Every Friday on the Weekly Kingdom. Every Sunday on Kingdom Uncut. You guys can also find me right here on the Northern Entertainment Group. Every Tuesday right here on the one on tape. And every Saturday. What?
So, the one we're doing right now.
I know. And every Saturday morning, I'm like, Northern Countdown.
As I got a hiccup at that moment. Find me at my personal Instagram and Twitter at soda_the_saxfan. You can find me all over this channel on the shows Ben has mentioned, plus on Wednesday nights on the Scored Slice. Last night, myself and Dustin, we talked about the past week in professional wrestling because it's been a pretty big week. Actually, technically 2 weeks. We covered SummerSlam and the fallout of Triple H's first week at the helm of creative for WWE. So check that out. We're off this Saturday, but next Saturday, coming back over on the Let's Get Your Network is going to be the Blokes of Wrestling, formerly known as the Dropkicks. Same show, same people, just a different name, different song. But definitely.
But I do have a question for you about the Blokes.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to be talking in British accent the whole time?
I mean, I could, Governor. that would be hard to keep up. That would be really hard.
Top of the morning to you.
Maybe an episode falls on April Fool's Day, your birthday.
Yeah.
So, thank you much, everybody, for watching. Let us know why you think Armageddon is one of the best science fiction disaster films of all time. And if you don't, screw you. No, I'm kidding. Man.
Don't be
I know. You know me, man. I don't often say those things. That's why I'm having a little bit of fun. But anyways, next week on Rewind the Tape, we go back to the 90s, and this time we're going into Air for Con Air with Nicolas Cage, Steve Buscemi, John Cusack, Cole Meany, John Malkovich, Dave Chappelle, Danny Trejo. There's a cast in this movie. There's a cast.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. See you later.